Championships are and should be the #1 prize in all wrestling promotions. However, I don't think that they are normally given the correct treatment or respect they deserve. Now, to be fair, to properly book a championship, it can be very difficult. Championship booking properly requires a couple of things that I think you need, and you need to get them in the correct way. In this video, I'm going to be going over the things that I think that you need to make a championship look good, whether it's the Universal Championship, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, the Ring of Honor World Championship, the WWE United States or Intercontinental Championship, just any championship in general. Now guys, for a championship to mean anything, of course, there needs to be a couple things. There needs to be a champion, a strong looking champion. There needs to be proper championship booking, and there needs to be a strong supporting cast. Now, when I say supporting cast, I mean everybody around the champion who is not the champion. Now that strong supporting cast, they have a very specific role, and it's an extremely needed role. Not everyone can be a champion, and not everyone should be champion. Only some people can be champion, only some people should be champion. So everybody who cannot be champion, who won't be champion right now, will play that role of a strong supporting character to the best of their ability. For example, let's say that Kenny Omega is the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Now his strong supporting cast of people could be Seth Rollins, The Miz, Dean Ambrose, Finn Balor, Tetsuya Naito, Hiromu Tanahashi, Zack Sabre Jr., Michael Elgin, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, baby! You see where I'm going with this? People that if they won the championship, no one would blink. These guys deserve championship victories. They deserve gold. But the fact that they are not getting it, the fact that they just can't win the big one, puts emphasis on Kenny as the champion, the guy that holds it. It puts emphasis on the championship itself. The championship is held for the best of the best. In that example, it being Kenny Omega. It helps out everybody around it, and it even helps out the person who will beat Kenny. Let's say CM Punk. If Kenny's beaten these guys like Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, baby, Zack Sabre Jr., Michael Elgin, Naito, Tanahashi, Shibata, Roderick Strong, Drew McIntyre, or Drew Galloway, depending on what you prefer. Aleister Black or Tommy End, again, what you prefer. The Velveteen Dream. He's beaten all these great guys that definitely deserve championship gold. When CM Punk comes along and he's the one that beats Kenny, CM Punk is the one that is able to dethrone the cleaner and become the new Intercontinental Champion. Now that's a significant win. It may not be the World Championship, but it makes the championship look fantastic. That's the guy. Kenny Omega, one of the best. But at this current moment in time, CM Punk is the best. He's the champion. And that really puts an emphasis on it. Now, does it mean that Seth, Dean, Elgin, Lethal, Cole, baby, or everybody else who challenges isn't good? They're just playing that supporting role. They're playing that role of the guy who's helping out the guy who needs to look like the guy. Now, this does come with a little bit of a criteria. Now, in my personal opinion, to be a strong supporting character for the World Championship, for the Mid-Card Championship, the Tag Team Championship, or any other championship, you need to be worthy and have a name that's worthwhile in your specific role. For example, in the WWE, at this current moment in time, I don't think that Apollo Crews would be a strong supporting character for any championship. He needs to get pushed, he needs to look right, he wouldn't be a strong supporting character for any championship. If he were to challenge, of course he would lose, and it just wouldn't really give any value to whatever he was challenging for. However, focusing on, say, the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar being the champion, his strong supporting cast would be Seth Rollins. If he won it, it could be very viable. It wouldn't be an issue to see Seth Rollins as a world champion. He's just not in that role at the moment in time. Kenny Omega, if he won, everybody can see him as a strong champion. Eddie Guerrero, he won, he would be a strong champion. These guys need to have high enough names in their own specific branch. If you're in the high upper card branch or if you're in the mid card branch, you need to have a name in that branch. Now, while I hate to say it, if Dolph Ziggler were to challenge, it wouldn't be very good. Dolph Ziggler would not be a strong supporting cast member for the World Championship, and I don't even think for the mid-card championship, just because of how he's been booked and how he looks. In terms of how he looks to the fans, not how he physically looks. Of course, for the mid-card championship, the WWE United States Championship, currently held by Baron Corbin, his strong supporting cast would actually be Bobby Roode. It would be The Miz. It would be Dean Ambrose would be a very good challenger for that. I think that given he was pushed correctly, I think Aleister Black could be a great U.S. champion. I think Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong would all fit into this role. Strong supporting guys for the mid-card. They have names in that card and they can really give emphasis on it. Baron Corbin beats all these guys, hopefully with good matches. You can't tell me that that championship doesn't look better. If Baron Corbin is going out there defending the U.S. Championship and he's beating people like Bobby Roode, a former TNA champion, Roderick Strong, former Ring of Honor television champion, world champion. He's beating guys like Jay Lethal. He's beating guys like Aleister Black, beating guys like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. All great wrestlers, great names in the world of wrestling. It gives help to Baron Corbin. He's beating all these guys. And it gives help to the United States Championship, seeing that while these guys are great, excellent wrestlers, they just can't win it. It's just simply what that is. And I think that New Japan does this better than anybody. Kazuchika Okada, a great wrestler. Probably the best of 2017. Kenny's been very good. Naito's been good. I like Rollins, as you guys probably know. I like a lot of different people. But Okada has probably done the best this whole year. That championship does not get thrown around like WWE's World Championship does. And I hate to say that, but it's still kind of true. WWE just throws their world titles around without any proper booking, without a strong supportive cast, without a strong champion, Jinder Mahal. And it doesn't make the title look as good as it should, as good as it could, or as good as it deserves to be. New Japan does this greatly, as, if I'm correct, this may be wrong. For anybody who truly knows about New Japan to its extent, I'm a new fan, I'm still getting into it. Please correct me if I am wrong. But I think over the past 2 years or so, only 4 people have held that championship, the IWGP World Championship. Those 4 being Okada, AJ Styles, Tanahashi, and Naito, if I believe so. Top guys who have names in that industry, in the world title picture. And those guys aren't the ones that are just constantly challenging for that championship. They're the guys that get the championship. Those are the best of the best. But all of those guys, they've been challenged by other people. Ishii has challenged. Shibata has challenged. Great wrestlers in their own right. Haven't won it. Just simply haven't won it. Kenny Omega challenged a great wrestler. Extremely popular in the U.S. I think he's actually more popular in the U.S. than he is Japanese side. That's my opinion. That may not be true. It probably isn't true, but I think so. It gives prestige to that championship. It's that little lore of, apologies if I say this wrong, but exclusivity. Not everyone gets to win it. Only the best gets to win it. And how the best look is defined by their strong supportive cast. Now we've covered the strong supportive cast, but we need to move on to the championship itself. How does the championship itself need to be booked? Now, quality championship booking. When I say that, I'm talking about that championship specifically. I'm not talking about Finn Balor holding the Universal Championship. I'm not talking about AJ Styles holding the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I'm not talking about Jay Lethal holding the Ring of Honor World Championship. I'm talking about the Ring of Honor World Championship. I'm talking about the Universal Championship. I'm talking about the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That championship specifically, the title specifically, and how it's booked to look. Now, of course, it needs to be booked strong. It needs to look good, and there are a lot of ways to do that. One of them, in my opinion, making sure that that championship is really seen as a prize. And now, that, of course, does come in the form of not having everybody win it, but primarily having that championship seen as a prize comes in a couple other ways. Some being a more New Japan style of doing it, of really making it a challenge for anybody to challenge for that championship. In WWE, basically, you can be a challenger. It's kind of random. Tonight specifically, I know there's a match between Kane and Braun Strowman. Winner of that match faces Brock Lesnar. Doesn't make any sense because that match was just inserted because they didn't have anything else. But not the point right now. Comparing it to New Japan Pro Wrestling, you beat the champion in a non-title matchup. 9 times out of 10, you will pin the champion in a tag team matchup or a 6-man tag. Or you will win one of the yearly prestigious tournaments. And I'm not saying that there are not ways to do that in the WWE. There is the Money in the Bank and the Royal Rumble, of course. However, I feel like for the majority of the time, the challenger just kind of comes out of nowhere. And if you really look at how some people come, it doesn't really make any sense. Now, some of them really do get a pass. AJ Styles gets a pass. Nakamura gets a pass. If Rude were to challenge, he would also get a pass because these are top guys. And it makes sense, although it would be extremely helpful if they were actually to do something to cement themselves as the number one contender. If you have 2 pay-per-views, for example, one of them being Extreme Rules, and the second one being Backlash. Now, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship will be defended at Backlash, but the number one contender will be decided at Extreme Rules. Now, WWE does actually do that sometimes. They have a challenger determined on one show, and the champion will face the challenger on the next show. Of course, those shows being pay-per-views. And they do that from time to time, although I think that's more due to the fact that Brock Lesnar is only a part-time champion, so that he can't be on every show to have anybody just come out and challenge him. But that's a very good way to make a challenger, and in turn make a champion, to have their challenger look good, make the championship look good in turn. Now, another good way to have that championship look like something important, to have that championship mean something, is to make sure it has an excellent spot on the card. Of course, the World Championship should be defended in the main event. WWE, that's the main event and the sub-main event. They have a 9-match card that will be match 8 and 9. The Universal Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship, to be a little bit more specific. The United States or Intercontinental Championship in a 9-match card. I suppose match 5 and 6 would do it good. Maybe one blow-off match in between. So 4, 5, 6. And the Tag Team Championships. or the women's championships, or the cruiserweight championships, kind of go in its own hierarchy. Personally, I don't think the cruiserweight championship should be defended on the pre-show ever. It really makes that championship look bad. But that's not the point. If it was defended on the first show of the actual main card, it shows its hierarchy in the WWE, and based on how it's booked and how it's looking right now, it actually does make sense. Women's championships, probably match 3 and match 4. I'm not gonna lie, I don't expect any 5-star matches from the women that really blow away the crowd and get them exhausted, so that you need a blow-off match in between. Tag team championships, somewhere in between. Maybe they would be the blow-off match between the mid-card championship, the United States and Intercontinental, and the World Heavyweight Championships. Or maybe they'd be the blow-off match between the women's. And you can probably tell in my head, the Cruiserweight, Women's Championships, and the Tag Team Championships are on the lowest tier. Obviously, the United States Intercontinental Championship, Universal, and WWE World Heavyweight are on the highest tier, which is why they're on the higher spot on the card. Having that high spot on the card, especially if you can perform some great matches in whatever matchup is necessary, whatever matchup is booked, makes that card look great. A championship should not be defended if it's made to look incredible, amazing, and prestigious in the first couple of matches. That's why I said the Cruiserweight Championship, perfectly fine with it being defended in match number 1, because honestly, it kind of means nothing. It just doesn't have the prestige, it's not booked correctly, and it just doesn't look right. I really don't expect the Cruiserweight to be defended in any kind of way on the upper card. Matches 1 through 3 on like an 8-match card, that's probably where it belongs. And of course, great matches come into play. 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 6 guys, 8 guys, really going in there and pulling it all out. It's proper championship booking. I really want to see AJ Styles and Finn Balor really go in there and fight for that championship. That's a prize. It makes that championship seem like a prize. Now, the very last thing that I think, not the very last thing, but the only thing I'm going to go over here that makes that championship look good is to have it be booked as a champion and as a championship incredibly. And there are 2 main ways of going about this that I could think about in this moment. Way number 1 would be to have a strong length championship reign. That strong championship reign could be achieved through simply having AJ Styles beat almost everybody credible enough on SmackDown Live. Bobby Roode, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Triple H, John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan. Again, the people who aren't even wrestling at this point. But guys that are credible enough to make that. It makes the champion look good, of course, but the championship as well, as it's held for only the best. Of course, when AJ eventually loses that championship, it looks just as good. It's not a knock on AJ. It's a help for the challenger because he just beat the guy who beat all of these guys, some of the best, which makes him look great. And it makes the title look great as it's held for the best. Imagine AJ Styles being your WWE World Heavyweight Champion, which he is right now. Now imagine him beating all of these guys. Imagine him beating The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Bret the Hitman Hart, Finn Balor, Triple H, Randy Orton, John Cena, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Adam Cole, baby, Kyle O'Reilly, Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, all of these guys that are simply great wrestlers and simply great as people. You can probably see these people as credible champions. I can see Kyle O'Reilly, Aleister Black, Finn Balor, Adam Cole, baby, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and all of these guys as champion, but AJ's beaten all of them. That championship is held for the best. It's held for AJ Styles. But the question now becomes, who's going to beat AJ? Well, we can have Kenny Omega do it. We can have CM Punk do it, and that helps out the challenger, CM Punk or Kenny Omega. That helps out the championship, because now they're the best. Kenny Omega's the best. CM Punk's the best, because they beat the best. A very, very great man, a very great wrestler once said, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Now, it's kind of hard to beat the man when everybody's kind of beat the man and everybody has owned or held that championship in some way, shape, or form. Giving it a mild form of that look of being exclusive, that make the championship. Now, that's way number one. That's my own personal opinion. That's the lengthy reign, the hard-fought reign. Way number two that I can think of in this moment, there may be more, and there probably is, would be to have maybe a shorter reign, not like an over a year-long reign, but to have a lengthy reign, a mild reign, short to mild, but have that championship defended in just brutal 5-star matches. Now let's use Dolph Ziggler for example. Dolph Ziggler is a great wrestler. Remember that match he had with The Miz at No Mercy? Great match. Definitely match of the year. Contender, if not an actual winner. That match made the Intercontinental Championship look good, because they went in there and fought for it. And that championship looked so good with how that match played out. So imagine Dolph being your IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And now that's kind of a stretch, I know, but let's just roll with the punches for a moment. Imagine him being your IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Holding that IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Let's say he's going to hold that championship for 6 months. In the WWE, that's 6 defenses. In New Japan, that's probably 2. But let's just mix and match. 6 defenses. Match 7, his 7th defense, he will lose it. So he's got to beat someone for all 6. And they have to have a very good match. So let's use those 6 people. Let's use Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. Dolph goes in there and he just kills himself like he does every night. He bumps like a madman. He is kicking out. He is fighting hard. End of the night, he retains. End of the night, he retains. End of the night, he retains 6 times. Match number 7. It's Dolph Ziggler versus Kazuchika Okada. He goes out there, he just kills himself, just like he does every night. He bumps like a madman, he kicks out again and again. Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. And Okada is champion. Not a knock on Dolph. He went out there and he fought for it. And we all know, in the modern wrestling world, everybody will cheer a guy who puts on an A+ match. Face or heel or tweener. You put on that A+ match, you will not hear a boo in the building. Everybody will respect and cheer for that. And getting that kind of action for the championship makes that championship look like it is the prize it needs to be. It makes the championship reign one to remember. Even if it's not long, it was a championship reign in style. Now, New Japan does this in the form of having length. Kazuchika Okada being champion for, I believe at this current point, over a year. And putting on excellent matches, so they do both. WWE has some issues with this. I think WWE doesn't do their length properly or their style properly. Brock Lesnar is their example of length. I don't like the part-timer idea, and it just doesn't work out. not for me, but some people may like it. And their own style, in terms of maybe not having a long reign, but having those matches being fantastic, doesn't work out. Also, since the most recent example of this has been Jinder Mahal, don't even like his matches. But if it's working properly, if you use it properly, it can be an excellent method for getting that championship to look like the thing it should be, like the prize. It should be like the #1 on that show, on that promotion. Now, we've talked about the supporting cast, everybody around the champion that's not the champion. Talking about the strong booking and how to make that title look good, but we haven't talked yet about the champion specifically. That champion needs to look really, really strong. Alright guys, so let's talk about the champion. The guy that's holding the championship. Hopefully he has the proper booking behind him. Hopefully he has a strong supportive cast. And now we talk about the man himself. The guy with the biggest target on his back. The man that everybody needs and should want to beat. Now, for all of this part, I'm going to be talking about the champion, and I'm going to be using Kenny Omega as my example, and I'm going to be using Finn Balor as my example for a challenger. So, a strong champion needs to have a couple of things, and these things really make a champion, really make a memorable role in the minds of people. And that champion needs to be a great wrestler. Kenny Omega is. This guy needs to have a very strong presence in the ring, which Kenny Omega does. This guy needs to be entertaining, which Kenny Omega is. Hashtag being the elite. And this guy just really needs to be on top of his game almost constantly, which Kenny Omega is. Guy had knee surgery, I believe. He had a knee injury, came back in 2 weeks, defended the IWGP United States Championship. I think that's pretty honorable. I think that really proved that Kenny's on top of his game. That's what a true champion should be. He's a guy that can really do it all and do it all better than the rest. Historically in WWE, they haven't been consistent with their champions being able to be the all and end all. In the past couple of years, we've had Triple H as champion. We've had Brock Lesnar. We've had Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Jinder Mahal, AJ Styles. And that's all the people that come to mind as of recently. All of these guys have some greatness in them. I said Jinder Mahal, and I don't want to say all of them are great anymore. But all of them do have some kind of greatness in them. Brock Lesnar, a great wrestler, cannot talk for the life of him. I'm pretty sure if you actually look it up, there is some old things of people on some kind of podcast saying how Brock just does not like to cut a promo. He just does not do it. Seth Rollins, a very strong wrestler and strong promo work. I think that his presence made a little bit of help. He needs some better help in the booking department to be a true champion like I am talking about. Same with Dean Ambrose, even though I don't really think that he should be champion again. I think that once was enough. I don't really trust Dean as champion again. Roman Reigns, lots of help. He's been getting over more and more, I'll admit that. I think it's because of the Shield, if anything else. I don't trust Roman long term. When the Shield breaks up, I have no reason to believe that he'll go back to being booed, but I don't have any reason to believe that he'll be cheered when the Shield breaks up again. Now, AJ Styles is probably the best representation of a true champion in the WWE in the past couple of years. The guy may not cut the best promos in all of WWE. I think that spot is reserved for Paul Heyman for obvious reasons. But the guy is definitely the best wrestler in WWE today. And that's filled with guys that are great. It's been said over and over again, WWE's current roster is probably the most athletic and gifted in terms of wrestling that it's ever had. They have Finn Balor and Aleister Black and AJ Styles and Adam Cole and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and Cesaro and all of these guys that really know how to wrestle. And they really go out there and they prove it. Athletically speaking, this is the best WWE roster. Of course, there are other guys. WWE's had a lot of other guys that do know how to wrestle and really do know how to perform a great show, like The Rock or Stone Cold or Eddie Guerrero or Chris Benoit. Chris Bennett and CM Punk. All these guys knew how to wrestle, but at the current time, the total number of guys is probably the biggest number that they've had ever. Now, of course, a true champion will need to be on top of his game constantly, which I believe Kenny Omega is, or else he wouldn't be one of the top guys in New Japan right now. A true champion should really know how to work. Now, of course, these guys I'm talking about, these guys are wrestlers, these guys are humans, these guys are not gods, they are going to mess up here and there. But for the majority of the time, these guys need to know how to be the best. I kind of wish I had used CM Punk as my example for champion so that I can use this term for fun, that a champion, a strong, true champion should really be the best in the world. And that's really what I think that it should be. This is all the things that I think that you really need for a champion to be considered a champion. Needs to be a strong, true champion in all of these ways. A strong wrestler, strong promo, strong presence, strong look. I don't really want a champion that looks like every other guy. Finn Balor being an extreme example of looking different. Not a bad one, just an extreme one. Kenny Omega looking very different than anybody in New Japan. I think some other people that look very different right now in WWE would be Roman Reigns in terms of his ring gear. There's no one else to look like Roman. And I don't even like his ring gear, honestly. So I think it's too much remnant of the former Shield, the original Shield of 2012, but not the point right now. I think AJ Lee looked very different from her counterparts while she was in WWE. And of course, a champion needs to be on top of the game. Champion should be the best of the best, and everyone else is simply the rest. Guys, I am really, really curious what you guys have to say about this and everything else I talked about in this entire video. Guys, I hope you could enjoy this video. This is my first time doing this kind of commentary, and I hope it was enjoyable for you. If you did like it, please leave a like and a comment down in the comment section. Let me know you guys want this more in the future. Until then, whatever the next one may be, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.